Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from RealityArtPod, here to rate the players of Big Brother 26 based on how they played the game after the first week. Firstly, these ratings are weighted against my previous rating, which was my first impressions rating. I was wrong about a lot of these people. At the time of recording this, I just watched the first eviction episode, so spoilers ahead if you haven't watched it yet. I put a link in the description so you can catch up on my previous recaps. If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing, but let's dive into it. Firstly, we lost Matt, who was 7th in my ratings last week. I feel like he had good potential in the game, and I was going to put him around 11th or 12th in this rating had he stayed, because I still felt like he could have salvaged his game if he stayed. Goodbye, crazy eyes. This week in 15th, last place, I have Kenny, who was 4th in my first impression rankings. I thought his experience with a cop was going to come in more handy. He takes such a drop low because he was nominated on Angela's HOH when he should have easily connected with her, being the closest in age and a parent, especially because she's such an emotional player, but it doesn't seem like he ever even tried with her. He was very quiet on the feeds, doesn't really have a lot of charisma, and the most personality I've seen from him was his Guy Fieri visor. He openly said that he was willing to lay his game down for Matt, which was really pathetic, and I'm glad that Angela told him that to his face. Coming into this week, he's not in any of the big alliances. He could be safe if Mackenzie or Leo win HOH, but let's not forget that the majority of the house wanted him out last week. They just wanted Matt out more. And after the week they had last week, I think a lot of these players are looking for an easy week. But if he starts wearing that muscle shirt more often, he might win some competitions. In 14th, I have Lisa, who was 13th last week. I really expected her to be a goofy character that could be useful in the game, but the week starts and she's pretty much just assuming that Angela would keep her safe. She didn't really talk to Angela, and allegedly there was a consensus of people bringing Lisa's name up to Angela. After being nominated, she was so pissed, marching around the house, asking people to commit their votes to her when the veto hadn't even been played yet. She's really intense and is trying to run the game like how she runs her business, but she's really becoming personally disliked by the other players, especially the men who are getting really sick of her cooking and putting glitter in their food. I think it's still positive that she wants to play the game, and it's great that she won the first veto. I could see her saving herself more in different ways in the future. She inserts herself into conversations that she's not asked to be a part of, and people just bullshit her to her face, getting all the information from her and giving her nothing. The thing she had going for her is that she preached honesty and transparency, but then she voted against the house and is definitely the least liked and most annoying of the girls who voted to evict Matt, making her extremely likely to be evicted soon. In 13th, I have Angela, who I had 3rd on first impression. I gave her bonus points for winning HOH, showing that she's capable of winning comps under pressure, and her experience on Price is Right should help too, but she played this week so bad. It started off good, with her being involved in the big alliance because of her being HOH, and that alliance was constantly reforming, with the other members always trying to keep her included in their plans, but I think once they realized they can make plans that don't include her and just use her as a vote, they leaned into that. She is an active game player and knows a lot about the house dynamics, even though she makes some assumptions like Matt having a giant named alliance against her that she kind of runs with and loses her shit, which makes her very annoying to live with. But I think the game is in full swing, and annoying isn't really a good reason to vote someone out at this point, especially since she has big dirt on Quinn and has divided the house in a way that keeps her off the block 50% of the time, which could take her at least to jury. I'm really excited to see what she's like as a pedestrian player. Some saving grace for her this week is that Matt actually was evicted, so at least he's not coming for her because he said he would and he meant it, and he was going to get her ass too. In 12th, I have Leah, who I put 17th and didn't have much hope for in my first impressions. Now I have some hope. She was included in the original alliances, and she's definitely well liked in the house, with everyone seeing her as generally pleasant. I think she'd like to be seen as a ditzy girl, but she's actually pretty bright and sharp, and the other players likely see that. As time's gone on, she's gotten more and more associated with Matt and Mackenzie and could find herself on the block with Mackenzie and Kenny soon, though in that case, I think she probably sticks around and has them as a shield. Matt leaving should be good for her because it would bring she and Mackenzie closer to the girls who do have plans to protect her already, but like I said, I have her this low because she could easily find herself on the block for voting to keep Matt, though I think it would be unlikely for her to go home this week. In 11th, I have Quinn, who was 12th, ups for being in a lot of the original alliances and winning the advantage, but downvotes for telling Angela about the advantage. This advantage is way more powerful than Mackenzie's because you could steal someone's whole HOH, but giving the most volatile house guest in the house Angela this information, she could totally throw Quinn under the bus to anyone, which could result in Quinn being backdoored without the ability to ever use this power at all. Also, a main part of what makes this twist cool is being able to cause chaos, and that chaos could backfire eventually if even one person knows who's behind it. I docked further points when I saw he also told Chemo about this advantage, and he was talking about winning HOH and using his own power to hijack his own HOH and blame it on Lisa, which just sounds really dumb, but great for Lisa, who I guess would be safe. Further negative was inserting himself in house drama with Lisa on the feeds, which really had nothing to do with him. He just doesn't know how to lay low. Quinn, you better lay low. In 10th, I have Mackenzie, who I had at 11th. At the beginning of the week, I thought it was bad that Mackenzie was telling the girls that Angela needs to go the F home right away when the feeds came on. That was bad right before nominations too, but she wasn't nominated, so she got away with it. She seems to have all the attention of a showman's with none of the pleasure, as it's not really happening, and now Matt's gone. She could have used her power to save Matt, but she didn't, and now she lost him, which I I think is a win-win for her game as she still has the power and now she could join up with the girls. And at this point, I think the girl contingent is gearing up to be battle ready with Mackenzie on their side. I have her above Quinn because I think her advantage is better, at least right now. Because the more people who know about her advantage, the more they will fear nominating her, because putting her up could mean losing one of your allies on your own HOH. You don't know who America's gonna put up. So I think Mackenzie should tell everyone about her power. In 9th, I have Chemo, who was 15th in my first impression. The week started off rough for Chemo. He didn't really try not to be nominated and ended up being nominated for not game talking enough with Angela. He chalked it up to nerves and tiredness from being on slop, and he did come out of his shell a bit, making some bonds with the women that could protect him under some situations. People are touched by his story and want to keep him around, though I'm struggling to see him as a power player so far. I expected a lot of chaotic energy from him based on his interviews, but he's really just an introverted, quiet player, and that's really good for the game in this house with all these cracked, chaotic people. He's loyal to T-Core, who's set on including him in her plans, and she's really put them in a good middle place in the house that will make them powerful as a voting block in the next few weeks. I gave him bonus ups for finding out about Quinn's power and then suggesting to T-Core that Joseph had a power, showing that he's got the chops to lie even to his friends. And he won this competition even though he didn't really need to, but he kind of ate that. And now I have a lot of faith in him winning challenges under pressure, because not only did he get the right answer, but he had the fastest time. In 8th, a big fault for Joseph, who I had first in my preseason rankings. He started off strong being in the original alliances that Angela formed, but he quickly got into some messiness with a lot of the house seeing him as a big strategic assistant for Angela, which leads him to not really having that many one-on-one relationships with Matt's side of the house. At least I haven't really seen him socializing too much with many different people. Then again, he rarely has strategic conversations at all, which isn't good because people are already seeing him as a bit more of a player than he thinks that they do, and more of a player than he's even being. I have him this low because I think he's very likely to be on the block alongside Angela if Matt's side wins power, and I can't say he'd confidently stay. I can also see him dropping further down because there's a growing girl power rumble in the house, which could spell his doom if he doesn't start making better alliances. In 7th, I have Tucker, who was 14th in my first impressions. He started the week volunteering to be a have-not, which is positive, and spent a lot of the week being pretty low energy and out of the chaos and drama. He even actively told people that he was waiting until after the veto was used to pick an alliance, which was a good way to be a bystander and probably a good idea since the players who are jumping around and playing the most are making themselves look bad. He's been forming close one-on-one bonds with other house guests, notably with the guys and with Rubina, and he's been having a lot of the right opinions, like standing up for T-Core and saying Matt was using his mom as a way to manipulate Angela. I think he's got really great interpersonal skills and can write it out being low-key for a while. And I'm issuing my first apology. I was wrong about this guy. I thought he was going to be such a douche. He's sweet, he's a delight, and he is pretty funny. So shame on me. In 6th, I have Rubina, who was 8th. She's been surprisingly quiet on the feeds and in the house, but she has a lot of one-on-one conversations and is pretty active in the game. She has really strong relationships with Brooklyn and Tucker, and if a girl contingent arises, she's going to be part of it. Right now, she's pretty well connected at all sides, so she should be fine for now, but she's not really included in the core of the house enough to be any higher than here for now. In 5th, I'm putting Cedric, who was 10th. He's kind of in most of the important alliances right now. I'm really impressed with how he was able to stay off the block after being downgraded, but it really seems like Angela threw him a serious bone and never really considered it at all. With him being in the alliances, he seems to also really piss people off for no reason. He bothered Angela, which is easy, but Quinn has it out for Cedric, and I don't really understand why. I think Quinn is planning to come for Cedric in the near future, which is enough to land him here. In 4th, I have T-Core, who was 2nd last time. She came into the week super quiet, but was included in some things, including the big alliance with Angela because they shared a bedroom. It seemed like she was in the right place at the right time for that. I see her executing on her plan of being the weird girl in the corner, but somehow she became the person whose name Matt was throwing out as the replacement nominee because she was the least active in the game. I can't tell if Angela was ever really down for that, but somehow T-Core was one Angela mood swing away from being on the block this week, even though she had people standing up for her behind closed doors, like Tucker, which shows she has some backup if she winds up on the block. And if she's on the block against Chemo, I think they'll keep her. She really started playing towards the back half of the week, seeming like the swing vote between Matt's side and the remnants of Angela's side, and it seems like she and Chemo could do some serious damage as middle players in the coming weeks, but for now, there's a few players who are playing a bit better. In 3rd, I have Brooklyn, who was 5th. Same bonus points as everyone toward the top of this list for being included in a lot of the alliances, mostly getting in good with the Pentagon that includes the 3Cs and Quinn. She talks some game, but she's not leading anything. Mostly she's really good at connecting with people, and they're all so engaged by her. I still get the vibe that she's trying to go full Spradlin and round up these girls like Infinity Stones, as she has a final 2 with Rubina. They have a loose girls alliance with Chelsea, Leah, and Mackenzie. Matt leaving makes Leah and Mackenzie so much easier to bring closer into the fold for her, and I could see her using her pageant coach abilities to be running these girls like the Navy. House dynamics play into it too because 2 of the big targets right now are parents, and I think they'll spare Brooklyn for a while because of it. Before they know it, I think it'll be too late. In 2nd, I have Cam, who was 6th, and he's playing an impressive game, being in the Pentagon, the 3Cs that make up the majority of the Pentagon, the Collective, the fake barbershop, and the Andersons, all guy alliance, that gives him a one-up on Cedric, who isn't a part of it. He's super quiet, laying low and on nobody's radar. You can't say he's not playing because he's in all these alliances, but I've never seen or caught him having an important conversation on the feeds. I can't see him going anywhere anytime soon, and as time goes on, these competitions will get more and more in his favor. In first this week, I have Chelsea, who was 9th. She gets all the bonus points that I can give to Cam. She's in all these alliances, real and fake, and instead of the guys alliance, she's got her own thing going with the girls. Bigger ups than Cam in that she has stronger bonds and is more active in the game talk, really pushing the game forward and building a lot of strong one-on-one relationships on all sides of the house. Also, major ups for being such a power player in a week where she had no vote and was in a place where she could have easily been nominated. I worry that her big personality could lead her into some conflict along the way, but so far, right now, I think she's one to watch. So those are my week 1 rankings. Give me a like and subscribe if you like the content. Check out my recaps if you haven't. If you disagree with my opinions, post your own ratings. I want to read them. We can all get along here. I'll be back on Sunday to recap the nominations episode, and I'll be on Twitter all weekend long, watching the feeds and reacting in live time. Until next time, have a nice weekend. Bye.